Welcome to Coyote Tales, a podcast featuring life stories from Weatherford College alumni and friends. And now, from the Nan and Bob Kingsley building on the campus of Weatherford College, in the Coyote Studios, here's Brent Baker.
Well, I am very excited to bring you the first ever edition of Coyote Tales. From time to time, we'll talk to folks who have a connection with Weatherford College, whether it's an alumnus or a friend or a donor or a connection with WC, and very happy to be able to bring this to you. I want to thank the Coyote radio station, Dave Cowley, the general manager, and everybody who's a part of this one. Our first edition, we talked to Ryan Brasier. Ryan is a Major League Baseball player. He's a pitcher, and he's a two-time World Series champion. He won with the Boston Red Sox, and he won in 2024 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Since we recorded this interview, we recorded it before the beginning of the 2025 season, he was traded from the Dodgers to the Chicago Cubs. And so as we speak in 2025, he is a member of the Chicago Cubs. Ryan Brasier with the first edition of Coyote Tales. Ryan, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Excited to be with you guys.
Congratulations on the World Series this past year. It's your second World Series title, this one with the Dodgers, and it must have been an incredible thrill.
Yeah, it was. The first one in 18 with the Red Sox, you played for so long to have the opportunity, and then, a few years later get the opportunity to do something like that again and be fortunate enough to win it again. Definitely didn't have that in the cards when I was at Weatherford.
Let's talk about that, your beginnings a little bit. Is it true, and, you got to be careful what you read on the internet, but is it true that when you played at Wichita Falls Rider High School that you were primarily a catcher, not a pitcher?
Yeah, it is. I went all through high school catching, pitched a few times, and then even when I came to Weatherford, I caught all fall and only threw a few innings, and then in the fall, a bunch of scouts were pretty much telling me that I need to put down my catcher's gear and pick up a pitcher's glove because that was probably the easiest way that I was going to be able to get drafted out of Weatherford. And so I came back after Christmas break and pitched.
How did the scouts know that if they primarily saw you hit and catch?
So when I was in high school, I threw probably 2 or 3 times a year. And when I got to Weatherford, Coach Lightfoot asked me if I'd be willing to pitch some during the fall just because some colleges and scouts were asking to see me pitch. And I was throwing really hard, and the more I threw, the more scouts started watching me and sending me, information about the draft and stuff like that. And then ultimately made the decision to just pitch. It's
amazing. You start out as a catcher at Rider, and now you're a World Series champion pitcher.
Yep.
But talk about your decision to come to Weatherford College. How did that go down? Obviously, you're probably being sought after by other schools, and what sold you on coming to Weatherford College?
Well, the first time I went, the facility, I thought the field and being right there next to campus, and even like the dorms were pretty new when I first went, and some of the other junior colleges around, North Texas, just didn't have the facility that Weatherford had, and I knew a few guys that had went there and a few guys that were going there, and I think I went down to like a showcase or something, and immediately after that, we talked to Coach Lightfoot and set up a visit and stuff, and I just ultimately liked it more than any of the other places around North Texas.
And so you pitch, you catch and pitch, really, for Weatherford College, and then you get drafted, and I'm sure that you had the opportunity to go on from WC and maybe play for a 4-year. Talk about the decision to go ahead and go into the minor leagues rather than move on to an NCAA school.
Well, the main reason is from as long as I can remember, wanted to play, in the big leagues. And pretty much as soon as I got the opportunity, I was a 6th-round pick, and I had pretty much, a choice of any big school I wanted to go to. Pretty much in North Texas, Oklahoma, around the South. And then once I got drafted, I just, I kind of knew before even before that's what I was going to do was go play in the minor leagues and hopefully get a chance.
So obviously, you have to fight through minor league baseball. You're with the Angels. You get your first outing in a major league uniform. Talk about that day and what that was like.
Yeah, so I got to the big leagues in like my 5th season with the Angels, and I actually the first day I went, it was a day game, a noon game in Oakland, and we had a night game the night before, and I didn't hear about it until about 2 a.m. So the first day was kind of a blur, and I didn't pitch the first day. I just sat in the bullpen and kind of took it all in, which, maybe a good thing, kind of got some of the nerves out and some of the, being anxious about it. And but the next day we played at home, and I got my first real appearance.
Now, you say you didn't hear about it till 2 a.m. You didn't hear about you getting called up?
Yeah, they called it like 2 a.m. and said, "Hey, you got to go up to you're going to Oakland tomorrow, and it's a noon game."
Where were you?
Man, that's a good question.
Salt Lake?
I was in Salt Lake in AAA, but I think we were in Albuquerque.
Oh, you're away. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we were away.
So you had to hoof it and
Next morning, that's right.
Get to Oakland, and I assume, do they take care of all that for you? They say, here's your flight.
Yeah, they take care of everything.
Yeah.
Had a car waiting, but it was kind of like one of those things where you just show up and get dressed and go outside, and it's pretty much game time. But
wow,
that's definitely worth it.
Wow, what an experience! And I want to hear about your experience in Japan. You played for the Hiroshima Toyo Carp, which is, I think, one of their most well-known.
It's considered one of the original 4 teams of Japanese baseball. They have one of the bigger fan bases, but they're super popular in Japan. And I went there for 1 year in 2017, and then had the opportunity to sign back with the team here in the States, and decided that that's what I wanted to do.
What was it like playing over there? Maybe some of the differences that you noticed.
Man, really the biggest difference, glaring difference, obviously, is the language barrier.
Yeah.
But as far as baseball and being in the locker room, you kind of get the sense of what it's like for guys that are here from Japan or Dominican Republic or, some of the other Latin countries that, they may not always understand what you're saying, but I felt like everything was kind of the same. The training over there was a little different. They do a lot more reps and some of the pitchers over there would throw bullpens at 70, 80 pitches, 100 pitches, as opposed to here, you're throwing 30. But yeah, I was there for 9 months. Definitely a different place, but really enjoyed Hiroshima and really Japan in general.
You've had one of those careers where you've had to fight some adversity. You had to have Tommy John surgery, and then you got hit in the head with the ball later. Did you not? Yep. And in 21, I hurt my right calf, and I stayed back after spring training, and I was only supposed to be there about a month and a half. And my last outing in Arizona, I was in a game against one of the teams down there, and a kid, 18-year-old, actually, he hit a ball right back up the middle, and it got me right in the ear. What how long did that take you out? I think I pitched in my first game in 21 in August, I believe, or July. So it was about 4 months. Wow. Scary moment. Did you have any issues with getting back in the saddle with, hesitancy? No, not with as far as throwing and baseball goes. I had some hearing problems and some minor stuff from that, but it's funny because I thought I was going to have a little flinch or a little bit of something on the mound, but luckily enough I never had anything like that. Talk about your time with the Boston Red Sox. You won your first World Series title there. You said it was a dream come true to play at Fenway Park. I bet it was. Oh man, it was unreal. Especially the first time walking out and you see the green monster, and they sell out almost every single game, if not every single game. But yeah, I spent 5 years. 5 years in Boston, and was lucky enough to play in 2 playoffs and win the World Series in 18 in my first year there. Unbelievable. You end up with the Dodgers in 2023. and started out, I guess, in their AAA, and then end up on the big league squad. And, man, you had a great year. You contributed throughout the playoffs, in the World Series itself. And what were maybe some of the differences between your Boston World Series title and your Dodgers World Series title?
So when I got with the Dodgers in 23, they had me start throwing a new pitch that I've never thrown, which was a cutter. And instantly it kind of changed the way my bats with lefties would go. And it just got me to a point where, I was getting weak contact or swing and misses on at-bats that I, just attacking with one, a fastball and a slider, adding one more pitch just to kind of throw them off. And a couple little minor adjustments that they made when I got there. But, we got beat out in the first round last year of the playoffs, but I was really excited to get back to it this past year. And obviously we ended up winning. So
fantastic. Talk about family. Your wife, do you have kids? What's family life like?
Married with 2 kids. I got a 13-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter, and running crazy pretty much the whole time I'm home, going to practices and games and school stuff. So just having dad life while I still can.
Was your wife, did you know her growing up? Because I believe she was also a Wichita Falls girl.
Yeah, so we met in high school and then have been together ever since. She spent a lot of days in Weatherford.
That's fantastic. Love it. Well, let me close the way we kind of started and talk about your experience at Weatherford. Overall, what was your experience like playing for Coach Lightfoot and for the Weatherford College Coyotes?
Yeah, it was awesome. And like I said, the facilities at the time were top notch, and I think they had a guy that really, his only job was to take care of the baseball field, which, you don't find that most places in junior college. But I made a couple friends that I still talk to today, and I still text back and forth with Coach Lightfoot pretty often. So I really enjoyed my time at Weatherford.
Did you feel like that really set you up to be able to go to the next level rather than coming right out of high school? You think you've been able to do what you've done without that step?
No, definitely. I've lived at home all the way till Weatherford, and you kind of get put in a spot where you got to grow up in a short time. And being at Weatherford that 1 year, and then being lucky enough to get drafted, it definitely taught me how to be on my own and how to go about things on my own.
Well, know this, that people here at Weatherford College are very proud of what you've accomplished, especially when you got in the playoffs last year. Everybody's pulling for you. We'll be pulling for you this year and as well, and the rest of your career. And you'll always be a Coyote to us.
Well, thank you very much.
Ryan Brasier, Major League Baseball player. Ryan, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Well, that's the first edition of Coyote Tales. Looking forward to having great conversations with lots of folks who love Weatherford College and who have a connection to this place. For Weatherford College and for the Coyote radio station, I'm Brent Baker.